On January 31st, Britain has left the European Union, but for the next year, it will enter a transition period and will largely stay aligned with the EU. In December 2019, the Conservative Party of Boris Johnson got a stunning victory. Johnson had his majority to get his Brexit deal through Parliament. However, despite Johnson's promises to get Brexit done, he still has to negotiate a deal with the EU for after 2020. Britain will continue to follow EU rules for as long as the transition period lasts. So it will continue to follow EU jurisdiction, keep contributing to the EU budget, and remain part of the single market. In this relatively short period, both the EU and UK will discuss a broad range of issues, varying from the influence from the European Court of Justice to the status of Gibraltar, the British Peninsula in Spain.
UK's strategy is twofold then. It doesn't want to be seen to concede ground about having to respect EU rules, and in particular the jurisdiction of the Court of Justice in Luxembourg. And on top of that, it has a specific desired outcome, and that is the no quotas, no tariffs outcome that would then allow as much frictionless trade as possible. It says is that that's the kind of arrangement that you have between the EU and Canada, for instance, with a few then extra ideas that the UK would like to see added to that.
The UK wants a Canada-style free trade agreement, which eliminates most tariffs and increases the quota of products that can be exported without extra charges. However, the EU said that before any agreement on trade is finalized, there must be an agreement on fisheries. Fisheries are a sensitive subject. While it makes up less than 1% of Britain's economy, it very much symbolizes taking back control. Therefore, Britain wants to reclaim its territorial waters for its fishers. But maritime nations like France and the Netherlands fear they will lose vital access. If there is no proper trade deal by the end of the year, there is an alternative. An Australian-style trade deal, also known as a no-deal Brexit.
So what happens if there's no agreement by the end of the year? Then you go into a scenario where the EU and the UK have no formal trade relationship outside the rules that are already provided by the World Trade Organization. And that's a world in which you have then tariffs, you might have certain quotas. That means that if you are a British fisherman, it might be difficult to sell your products in the EU because you also wouldn't have, in a sense, an agreement for how you get British fish or seafood products onto the EU market, because you have inspections at EU ports, whether it's Rotterdam or Kiel or somewhere, and on that basis there will be all these frictions that will necessarily arise. And so that's where we're heading if there isn't an agreement to either extend transition or else to have a free trade agreement. So you've only got three outcomes that are possible: no agreement, extending transition, or some free trade agreement. So one of those three things has to happen come the 1st of January 2021.
The stakes for both sides are high, for it will decide the UK-EU relationship for decades to come. So the Brexit saga did not come to an end on January 31st, but merely enters a new chapter.